You can't see it. There's no barcode stitched into the fur, no terms of service pop up before it howls. But the dire wolf that Colossal Biosciences engineered isn't just an animal, it's a proprietary format, a legal construct, a genomic asset built under US patent law. Romulus and Remus may look wild, but behind the mythic names and icy eyes is a carefully edited genome legally distinct from anything found in nature. And that distinction makes all the difference. Because under American law, if you change a gene even a little, you can own the organism that carries it. The wolves aren't just back from extinction, they're back under license. This isn't theoretical, it's settled law. In 1980, the Supreme Court ruled in Diamond versus Chakrabarty that a genetically engineered bacterium was patentable. The phrase they used, anything under the sun that is made by man, that ruling opened the floodgates. If it's modified, it's yours. By 1988, Harvard patented the infamous oncomouse, a mammal engineered to develop cancer, leased to researchers under lab use contracts. The patent didn't just cover the gene, it covered the animal and its offspring. Today, the same logic applies to Colossal's edited wolves and mammoth elephant chimeras. A gene tweak here, a phenotypic shift there, and suddenly you're not just holding an animal, you're holding an asset. And here's where it gets worse. The resurrection tools Colossal now controls weren't invented in a private skunkworks. They were developed in George Church's Harvard lab with federal grants. NIH, DARPA, and the Howard Hughes Medical Institute poured public money into the research. Then Harvard's Tech Transfer Office patented the outputs and licensed them exclusively to Colossal. The license includes all the key tech: mammoth gene insertion, elephant stem cell editing, embryogenesis protocols. And it comes with one caveat: no human use. In other words, Harvard knows exactly how far this can go and has carved out the human domain for itself or another buyer. The rest, that's now under private lock and key. Colossal's patent filings aren't just about tools, they're about life forms. One application ending in W40A2 claims ownership of any organism with certain mammoth alleles. Another, W55A1, drills down on specific cold resistance genes. Their cryopreservation and IVF patents, like W9671, secure the pipeline, how the embryo is edited, stored, and gestated. In short, Colossal isn't just editing genomes, it's building an IP empire, staking claims on synthetic species from cell to birth. The result is a new kind of life, not just engineered, but owned. And what happens when that owned animal breeds? Patent law already has an answer. In Bowman versus Monsanto, 2013, the Supreme Court ruled that replanting patented seeds, even ones that sprouted naturally, was infringement. You didn't buy the gene, you licensed it, and replication without permission, that's a violation. Applied to Colossal's creatures, it's simple. If a patented dire wolf or mammoth hybrid reproduces, the offspring are covered. They're unauthorized copies. Unless you've signed a license, you've broken the terms. Nature doesn't get a pass. Neither do zoos, labs, or rewilding parks. Colossal wants to release these animals. Let them roam, repopulate ecosystems, which sounds noble until you realize the genome is under patent. That means any rewilding effort might require a usage agreement. A government reserve could need a license to host mammoths. A zoo might need to report and register every birth. A researcher sampling DNA from a wolf pup might accidentally trigger IP enforcement. We're not talking about conservation anymore. We're talking about the privatization of ecological restoration. If nature becomes a user, then the user needs terms of service. This entire system is built on a loophole. Public science gets privatized the moment it becomes profitable. The Bayh-Dole Act lets universities patent taxpayer-funded research. Harvard took full advantage. Church's lab pioneered CRISPR multiplex editing with DARPA and NIH dollars. Then Harvard patented it, carved it up by field of use, and handed the resurrection market to Colossal. The no human use clause shows how surgical this control is. The public funds the base, the university slices the pie, the startup sells the future, and the public gets no royalties. Think of a resurrected mammoth as an app. You can look at it, you can even interact with it, but you don't own it. You're running licensed code. Colossal could, in theory, lease animals with breeding caps, tag their offspring, monitor their usage, enforce contracts like a software EULA. You may not reverse engineer, duplicate, or export without permission. Some biotech companies already use kill switches and reproduction locks. Others just use lawyers. Either way, the animal becomes a biological product with digital rights management, genetic DRM. Colossal didn't bring back a dire wolf. It built a new format for life. The wolf isn't an animal, it's a file type, a template, a delivery system for licensed biology. The patent claims don't just cover DNA, they cover expression systems, reproductive protocols, the organism itself, and anything that carries its genes. That's not conservation, that's platform dominance. You don't get to fork the genome, you don't get to study it freely. You get what they let you access, and that access is billable. And if you think this is just a business story, you're still behind. Because when genetic control scales to ecosystems and national parks start running licensed species, governments take notice. In the next article, we'll show you how this resurrection platform is being integrated into state power. From DARPA grants to CIA investments to national security patents, Colossal's creations aren't just biotech curiosities. They're becoming assets of the biopolitical state. And once resurrection becomes a weapon or a resource, ownership stops being about patents and starts being about power.